Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 528. Our top deck, bag, and pool building games that we don't own.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
The Meeple Nation podcast is sponsored by Game Toppers LLC. They have anything you need to enhance game night. Whether all you're looking for is a simple game topper or a mat, all the way up to a full table solution and everything in between, Berkey has got what you need, so go and check them out. Fantastic product. We use them all the time. We stand by them. They are superb. Go check them out at GameToppersLLC.com.
Sometimes we even sit by them.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
And put things on them.
We do. Yeah.
Fun things.
Fun things, yes. We are the hosts of Meeple Nation. I'm Nathan Howard.
And I am Douglas Stewart.
Doug, it's just you and I again.
Again.
This whole Andy working all this overtime is getting a little tiresome for him.
Yes. And for us.
And for us, yes. But I guess we're not the ones putting in 60, 70, almost 80 hours of work a week. So
yeah,
probably is more rough on him than us.
Yeah. My dad had a saying that he would tell me all the time growing up. He used to say, one boy is a boy, two boys is half a boy, and three boys is no boy at all. And so we're at half a boy. And what we really need is no boy at all, because that's when the fun begins.
That's when it becomes fun. Yeah, I like that.
That's when the party starts.
Excellent. Yeah, we do miss Andy. Hopefully he heals. Hopefully his overtime will be ending soon, and he will be able to attend on our recording nights and get back to the podcast.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. We have a website you can go check out. It has all sorts of Meeple Nation goodness. Please wander over there. And while you're there, at the top of that website, you will find our link to our Patreon page. We love our patrons. Our patrons make everything on the podcast magically delicious. And without their help and support, we would be running on a lot less quality product.
There'd be a lot fewer acorns to feed the squirrels.
Yes, for sure. It makes me think back in the days when we originally started, and there was one microphone in the middle of the table, and we all had to kind of huddle around that. And now we each have our own microphones, and that allows us to pick up each other's voices easier. It allows us to be able to edit a lot easier than the old times, and I've like to say that we've improved a lot since over the last 9 years.
We like to think that.
Yeah.
We're maybe a little biased.
Maybe.
That's awesome. Well, Nathan, that will take us right into talking about highlights for the week. And I noticed that you have kind of a list here, and some of these are ones that I would be interested in talking about too. So I threw one down that I kind of want to talk about. What are you going to talk about? I'm curious to see where your little spinning wheel is going to land on this list of games.
Yeah, this is a little long list, but it is going to, I'm not going to talk about all these for sure. But actually, one I really want to talk about first is a game you threatened to bring last week, and you didn't.
I was wondering if you were going to talk about this.
And this is one that we played. It's Moon, and it's a newer game that you picked up, and we played twice. And the first time we played, it was really good. I enjoyed it. And then the second time we played, and you had like 6 times my score.
It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it was way imbalanced for sure. I don't want to say it was broken because the cards were there. I had equal opportunity to buy and purchase those cards, but for you, they worked magically.
Oh, it was crazy the way everything kind of came together. That first game, I really felt like you were running away with it. I thought when the dust settled, you were going to take that game.
I thought so too.
And I was really surprised when I pulled it off. Now it was a tight game. It wasn't a blowout by any stretch. And the game was really fun. And it left both of us kind of thinking, okay, let's play that again, which is, I mean, we don't normally play games back to back, but it wasn't too long, didn't take too long to play. And we both really liked it. So we were like, all right, let's play it again.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
And then all those cards came together for me, and I almost felt kind of embarrassed. And then you were like, yeah, I don't know about this game. You were like, I was going to pick this one up, but not anymore.
Yeah, it didn't go into my shopping cart by any means, but I do want to play it again. I did enjoy it. And even the disaster that I had in the second game, I very much still enjoyed the game. And I am anxious to play it again. And so when you didn't bring it on Thursday, I was a little bit bummed. On one of our game nights this week, hopefully it'll get to the table. Andy's game night, I will be out this week, so hopefully Thursday.
Sounds good. I'll bring it. Maybe we can play it. I think we need to play it with more players because this is a drafting game. And one of the things that is kind of inherent with drafting games, especially at 2 players, sometimes at 3, but especially when you're playing with just 2, is you're picking a card and passing it to the other player. They're going to pick a card and they're going to pass it right back.
Right.
And I think you get 8 cards. I want to say it was 7 or 8 per round, and you become pretty familiar with the cards that are in there, and you can kind of develop like, okay, if I can get like these 2 or 3 or 4 cards, I can really start to develop some synergies. And those cards are coming back. So odds are much higher that you can kind of strategize and plan out ahead. With a 3 or 4 player game, after I pick my card and pass it, odds of getting any of those cards back that I really want in that hand are not very high.
Right.
And if they are, then I'm lucky and I've only got one of those. And so it's really more of you're really trying to decide what card is going to work best with your strategy every single time you get it. And it's fresh and new information every time. So I think this game would probably work better at a higher player count.
Yeah. And it's not to say you couldn't get that same combination in a higher player count.
For sure.
But when you're able to say, okay, I'm hoping to get 2 of these 3 cards, yeah, you're able to make some plans and manage your drafting a lot more efficiently in a 2-player version of that.
Yeah, and Moon features public goals, like public objectives that you want to try to get. And so, when everybody's working toward those, again, the odds that you're going to get exactly what you want, I think, go down quite a bit because there's more competition for those things. And so, yeah, I'd really be curious to play this at a higher player count because I really do think it would be better. But it's a fun game. I mean, you're drafting cards and you're trying to build a base on the moon. I mean, you basically have some cards that are going to produce for you, some that are basically providing tags, like that kind of offer synergies. And then you've got some cards that provide like one-time abilities, like you can flip them at once per era because the game's played over 3 eras. And then you have other cards that'll give you some endgame scoring. So you're just drafting those cards, trying to build the best engine that you can and moving on. You score era to era. It is kind of fun. Like they have sort of this popularity board where certain tags are more popular the popularity it kind of goes up in value each round, but the excitement level decreases. So you have this little stack of hearts that goes down because a lot of the cards will synergize off of how exciting certain things are. But the more you build on the moon, the less excited people are about it. It's not as new and interesting anymore kind of thing. And so
becomes overpopulated or whatever.
Yeah. So thematically, it's got some really fun things going on. Mechanically, fairly simple, but I like Moon. I thought it was really good.
So this reminds me of Draft and Write Records a little bit with the whole synergy and the tags and everything. And we played this game 2 or 3 times when you picked it up brand new and we had it to the table. I very much enjoyed that game. And it has a BGA implementation as well. And I really enjoy the BGA implementation. Good. It works out really good. Mm-hmm. And I thought I was doing really well. And then you just blew me out of the water on that one too.
That's funny. Actually, I want to check on that. We're going to check on that in real time here because I didn't see what the final score on that was. I saw that it had ended.
It was like 98 to 56 or something like that.
Oh no. 98 to 58.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit of a blowout.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a lot better at drafting games than you.
It could be. Yeah. Because I mean, even Res Arcana, you were able to beat me at that. Castles of Burgundy. It seems like I don't even know how to play that game.
No, but I'll tell you the one that you and I are always neck and neck going back and forth on is Jump Drive.
Yeah.
It seems like you win one and then I win one and then you win 2 and then I win 2. And yeah.
So that's, and Maracaibo. Yeah. I feel like we're evenly matched at Maracaibo, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
As long as we don't play with Corey, who can like almost beat us with our scores combined.
Well, the last game we played with Corey, you and I set our personal high records, like almost 300 points. We did very, very well. And Corey was like 400 points. We were just like, okay, sure.
Yeah, he's playing at some whole new level.
Yeah.
And he and I chatted a little bit afterwards, and so I've tried to make some changes in my gameplay to see if it makes any difference. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose this current game that you and I are playing.
Well, I don't know what the formula is. I'm just always trying to do the best thing I can think of, and I can't see too far into the future like some savant like Corey is. So I don't know.
But he has a ton of experience with that game, so
yeah.
But anyways, I still very much like all of those games, but my highlight was your game, Moon.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's play it again.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that one. Well, my highlight, the one I wanted to talk about, is one that you introduced to me. We were over here, I think about a week ago, and it was just the two of us. So we decided to bust out some 2-player games. And one of those games, although I guess it's not technically a 2-player game, you could play it with more, but it was just you and I at the table. This was Noobs in Space.
Yes, Noobs in Space.
And I actually really enjoyed it. There were, so the premise of this game is it's essentially just a deck of cards. And the cards have numbers on the back that correspond to the mission. There's 8 missions. And so you're going to pull all the cards out that have a 1 on the back for mission number 1. And then all the ones that have 2 on the back for mission number 2. And a lot of the cards will have multiple, numbers on their back. So they'll get used for more than one mission.
Right.
But basically you have to try to solve the puzzles of those cards. So each player has a handful of cards, and some of those cards are going to be the missions that you have to achieve. So the big thing about this game is you cannot ever reveal or play your cards to the other player. Unless the game specifically directs you to play a card, that's the only time in which you can play it out onto the table. And at the end of every mission, you're going to check what you have out on the table against an answer key to see if you got it right. So if you're playing stuff or showing things that shouldn't be shown or played, you're going to get big deducted points for that at the end of the game. But you've got all your cards in hand, and you have to just communicate. You have to say, okay, this is what I've got. This is what this looks like. This is what this is doing. This is how this works. Or you've got to read the missions or whatever. And it works a lot like I would say there's some similarities between like some of the escape room in a box sort of things.
Unlock,
like
exit.
Unlock and exit. Yeah, come to mind for sure. Although this is a box with a deck of cards in it and 8 missions. You and I played all 8 missions in one sitting.
Right.
Now, it was just the two of us, and we were going pretty quick, and it still took us, I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe. So
it was a little bit more than that.
Maybe even a little longer, a couple hours. So there was some good entertainment value for that 2 hours, and we had, I think, a lot of fun. I do think this is on the simple side, and I also think that once you've played it out, I think you've played it out.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily want to go back to this.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's something that you can play, experience, and share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or rent, I guess, maybe if you're
trade something.
Yeah. But I very much enjoyed it. I thought the puzzle aspect of it was pleasant.
Yeah.
But I was very excited to share it with one of our original hosts, Brent Mayer, who loves his puzzles and escape room type games.
Yeah.
And so I was way excited to say, hey, I got something for you. And I said, have you played Noobs in Space? And he's like, oh, yeah, 9 times.
Oh, he's all over it.
Yeah. So he binged it at BGG last year, and so he had already experienced it. But yeah, it was
interesting.
Very much a good game.
I don't know how you could get 9 times out of it, if I'm being honest.
I guess maybe he's counting the initial training mission.
The initial training mission. So you're saying 9 plays, meaning the training mission and the 8 missions. Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, once you've gone through the box, I just don't know that you could do that again. Okay. Yeah. That makes me feel a lot better. That makes much more sense. I would definitely put this under an Unlock game. I mean, I would rather play Unlock, I think, than this. Unlock is more enjoyable for me when it comes to the escape room or puzzly type games like
Unlock's probably my favorite.
Yeah, it really is fantastic. It's really good. I wish we'd play more of them. You've got a whole stack of them over there, and they kind of taunt me when I sit here and record.
We need them on a night when we're not playing something heavier. We don't have anything when there's a smaller number count, because those can go up to like 6 players. But I think when you have that many players, it just becomes chaotic.
Yeah, it's got to be 2 or 3. I think is the definitely the right number. I will say I think I put this over Exit though. I think I preferred this over the Exit games, at least the ones I've played. I haven't played a lot of them. I've only played like 2 or 3. I don't know. Exit, I have a hard time with. I think it's a mental issue for me because I really, really don't like destroying components.
Yeah, no, I get that. Although I love legacy games.
That seems a little different though, right? Because that's a whole big epic kind of sprawling experience. Exit is just like a little box, and what I love about Unlock is you do one of those and then, like you say, you can share it. You can pass it on, give it to somebody else, let them take it and run with it. You don't destroy anything. You're not destroying the experience for somebody else. With Exit, man, once you've played that, it's done.
Yes.
Pieces are cut, stuff is torn, broken, ripped
Sometimes
apart.
the box is destroyed.
The box. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not to say the Exit games aren't bad. I just think I enjoyed this a little bit more. I really enjoyed Noobs in Space. I thought it was good. Good little experience. If you want just a quick little fun escape room style game in a box, that's a great one to go check out.
And you don't have to play them all. You don't have to binge them.
Right.
You can space them out if you want.
Yeah, they don't really tell a story.
No.
There's not much of a story. It's just kind of a series of linked missions that get kind of progressively harder, but there's not really much of a story involved at all. So you definitely can break the sessions up.
Yeah. But still, very good times. Noobs in Space.
Yep.
That's funny that my highlight was your game and your highlight was my game.
I love it. Fantastic.
All right. We are going to conclude our discussion of
deck, pool, and bag building games.
Ha 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 ha. I don't know why I did the count laugh on there, but I did. Looking at our collective collections. That's great.
Yep.
Our overall collections. I had to go out quite a ways to get a list of games that we don't own.
Yeah, all of the top deck, bag, and pool building games. It looks like you went clear out to 50
I went up to
on
50.
These?
Yes.
Yep. And we own all but 11 of them.
10 of them.
10 of them. Okay, my bad.
Oh, yeah. So that list, and again, kind of giving some background to this, I went and said, hey, give me the top deck, bag, pool building games that have at least 2,000 reviews and that are in a rank of 7 or higher. And so BGG kicked back some results, and it came up with Dune Imperium, Great Western Trail, Clink Legacy, Acquisition Incorporated, Mage Knight Ultimate Edition.
Which I'll just kick in here and say we own it, but we haven't played it.
Right, yeah.
I think I saw a copy on your shelf somewhere over in that-ish direction.
Yep.
And I've got it on my shelf as well. They just announced an expansion for it.
I saw that.
So this is one I might need to get to the table soon so that I know if I need to pick up that expansion or not. Because I have heard great things about Mage Knight. So it's technically one we own, but we haven't played it yet.
Right.
So I can't wait for that.
Right. But the first one that's not on our list is number 5, which is Concordia.
Concordia.
Now, this is a game that's been really popular for a long time. And while we're going through this and I'm reading over the description a little bit, this looks like a game that, I wonder why don't we have this? It has a weight of 2.99. So it's more on the complex, but not break the bank complex at all. It's 2 to 5 players. 5-player option is always nice, and it's 100 minutes. So time frame, all of those things work. Concordia is a peaceful strategy game of economic development in Roman times. Instead of looking for luck of dice or cards, players must rely on their strategic abilities. Be sure to watch your rivals to determine which goals they are pursuing. Going through this description so far, that's like the only thing that I can think of that why we passed on it. So you're looking for which goals they're pursuing so that you can try to outpace them. Colonists are spent from Rome to settle into new cities and produce brick, food, tools, wines, cloth. Each player starts with an identical set of playing cards and acquires more cards during the game. And these cards serve dual purposes. We all love dual purpose cards. There's just so much of this that's going for it.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
If I pick it up, the completist in me wants to have all things Concordia. And Concordia has 5 expansions currently. And they're all available, so that's nice. But if this is a game that you're going to get to the table and want to experience it, you're going to want to experience all those things. And we just have so much at the table already. So many options that I'm not sure that I could pick up Concordia. I'm really tempted, And the problem is if I buy the base game, I'm going to have to buy all the expansions because don't want to miss anything. But then you get it and it's no fun. Actually, I think it looks pretty fun. It could be in our collection. I would not say no to this game at all. I would very much like to play it, but I'm scared of that big buy-in for, which is kind of funny because we've all purchased big games. But
for sure. Okay, so I've got some news for you. So Concordia was actually redone in 2018.
Okay.
It was repackaged. So there's Concordia Venus.
Right.
And this is a standalone.
So that's a standalone. Okay.
It is a standalone. Yeah. So in the description, it says it's a standalone re-implementation of Concordia with some added features.
Okay.
So I think it implements a lot of that expansion and some of that stuff in there. It all comes kind of in one box. That's my understanding. So if we're getting that wrong, write us at meeplenation@gmail.com. Well, let us know what we got wrong there. Concordia is, I think at this point, it has become a classic in the board game hobby. This is a game that a lot of people really, really like. This is starting to enter into that. It's that kind of that in that same realm as something like Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's just one of those where I think we kind of owe it to ourselves to try this one at some point.
I agree.
Whether we pick it up at a library at one of the conventions and play that just to have the experience, or whether one of us picks up a copy of this. This is one that I would really like to try. And you start talking about some of the mechanisms involved in this game, the multi-use cards, all that. And I think that this is a game I'd probably really enjoy. So I need to track this down and learn it and play it at some point. So I'm excited to get this one to the table. This is one that I'm glad we make these lists and talk about these. I'm glad we have these episodes because this is a good reminder for me that there's an excellent deck, bag, or pool building game out there that I haven't played yet. That's a classic that I really need to get to the table. The overall rank on this currently on BGA is 24. And Concordia Venus, the reimplementation, its overall rank is at 99. So both of those are top 100 games on BGA. On BGG, I'm sorry, on BGG. I get those confused all the time.
Me too. So now if they're saying Concordia ranks higher than Concordia Venus, maybe it's worth it to go to the original?
Possibly. It could also be that Concordia Venus only has about 5,700 rankings, whereas Concordia has over 4,000.
5,700.
5,700, 5,700 versus over 40,000.
Oh, over 40. I heard over 4,000.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I said 4,000.
Okay.
So to clarify, probably because Concordia Venus has about 5,700 rankings, whereas Concordia has over 40,000 rankings.
All right. I can accept those numbers there.
I'm just trying to appease that completionist in you, Nathan. I'm trying to get you to look at the slightly cheaper and probably still just as great option so that your OCD doesn't have to flare up and cause you all kinds of issues.
I thank you for that.
I don't think I'm being very successful, though.
No, probably not, because it might be going into a cart right now. Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe.
So it's been a while since we've done one of these games that we don't own that has turned into a purchase.
Yeah, usually we're pretty okay with the games that don't get added to the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Concordia, we've got Lost Ruins of Arnak and then Great Western Trail, both excellent games, which we own and play all the time.
Great Western Trail 2nd edition, because the original one was number 2 on the list.
Oh, thank you. Yep, that is correct. 2nd edition. So then at the next one we have is Orleans.
Yeah.
Now, this is another one that I think has achieved what would be considered classic game status. Its overall rank is 32. This is from 2014.
This is originally Tasty Minstrel's game, and since the demise of TMG, it has been picked up by Capstone Games. So it is actually still available. It has several expansions, has 3 expansions, including a draw and write version, which does sound interesting.
I was actually on the cusp of picking this up and learning this and introducing it to the group about the same time that the Orleans, there's a legacy version, I think, that came out. And I was listening to someone talk about it and they said it was really bad. And it kind of just turned me off of the Orleans experience. I was like, okay, maybe I need to look into this a little bit more before I check this game out. However, since then, it's only been reiterated to me that this is a great game that's definitely worth playing and checking out. So that's another one that I would really like to check out. Orleans. Then we have another string of great games, Frosthaven, Dominion, Too Many Bones, and Heat Pedal to the Metal, which excellent games all in their own right. And then the next one that we don't own is Obsession.
Obsession. This, reading over the description of this game, this sounds very dry. You are the head of a respected but troubled family estate in the mid-1900s Victorian England. Yeah, not selling me at all. After several lean decades, family fortunes are looking up. Your goal is to improve your estate so that you can be in better standing with truly influential families in Derbyshire. And I can say that description right there is probably the reason that it is not in my collection. The hook, line, sinker
does not catch you at all.
Missed me completely.
Okay, so what I've heard is that this is actually an excellent game, and that you can't let the theme turn you off.
Yeah, you can't judge a game by its cover, by its box art.
Because it really does look pretty bad. But 8.2 rating, over 12,000 ratings to boot with a weight of right there at about 3.12. I don't know. It does say 1 to 4 players, best at 2, which is a little bit of a concern to me.
Yeah.
I want it to be best at 3 or 4 for sure.
Agreed.
But this isn't one I would turn down, like at a convention or something, if somebody was willing to teach me.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it is in the SaltCon library. We have SaltCon Summer coming up. If not, maybe we should put this on our list of games to try to get to at BGGCon this year.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Maybe we need to try to get to a bunch of these classics.
Yeah.
During BGGCon.
We need to start making a list now.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Really good.
All right, so going on from Obsidian, number 15 is Quacks of Quedlinburg.
From Obsession.
Going from Obsession to number 15 is Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is an amazing game. Oathsworn into the Deepwood, which is awesome, and we very much need to get back to. Clank, a deck-building adventure game. Aeon's End, Tainted Grail, and then the next one, number 20, is Mombasa.
Yes.
So Mombasa is one that I've actually played it several years back at SaltCon with Julie and Claudine. Didn't excite me enough to buy it then, but I would love to try it again. We have our little private convention. We're calling it this year MonCon. We're all going to Montana instead of to Andy's or Julie's house. And so that's in July. So maybe I can convince Julie, if she still owns this game, to bring Mombasa and give this another try. It does look like it's out of print, but it's not really hard to find. So
I think every time I've seen this one at the table, it just seems like a lot of work. And it has almost a 4 on the weight scale.
It is a pretty heavy game.
For me, that's what scared me away from this game, personally. That's why I haven't, I don't own it and I haven't played it. But yeah, especially if someone like Julie or Claudine, if they know it and could teach it, I'd totally be down with.
Yeah, because they're excellent teachers.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Okay, moving on from Mombasa, we've got Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth, Revive, Quest for El Dorado, Aeon's End, Clank in Space, and Clank Catacombs, all excellent games. And then the next one that we don't own is Forbidden Stars.
So that Aeon's End is Aeon's End War Eternal, so a second version of Aeon's End.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but for Forbidden Stars. So Forbidden Stars has a 2 to 3 hour gameplay. This scares me a bit because I've had some really sour experiences with some of our game nights where we've played these longer games where it says something like a 2 to 3 hour time, and we have almost doubled that.
Yes.
And that just makes me want to gouge out my eyes. That is such a terrible experience. And so I always have a hesitation for playing 2 to 3 hour games because I have that PTSD with some of those experiences. Yeah. But this has a sci-fi theme on it, which looks awesome. And the description sounds awesome. This game is out of print though, so it is harder to find.
Yeah.
And finding it available currently has close to a $250 price tag with it too.
No, thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. I would love to try it. Hopefully another one that we could try at BGG this year, maybe. It looks pretty cool to me.
I agree. Actually, at one point, I had tried to track this one down.
Oh,
and
did you?
Yeah, I just couldn't find it. And then, like you said, the ones that were out in the wild were so expensive that I just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
So that is why I have not played this one. But at some point, I would like to. The almost 4 on the weight scale does scare me just a little bit. I mean, I don't mind heavyweight games. I just want them to be worth the cognitive load and time that it takes to play them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you have to give a game a shot before you know.
Yep,
right.
absolutely.
So, not judging it, not saying no at all whatsoever. That's always just a red flag for me. But if it's good, I mean, some of my favorite games are those heavyweight games that take a little bit longer. But when you find those gems, the ones that really hit, they're so good.
Yes.
Some of the best games out there. The next one on the list is the next one that we don't own, and that is Roll for the Galaxy. Now, this is one that you've played.
It's played. I owned and culled this game. So it's kind of a question mark on our list here. I played it 10 times and I culled that as soon as my 10th time was over. I was like, I've had enough of this game. I don't like it. And I love Roll for the Galaxy. And like we already talked about Jump Drive a little bit earlier, I really enjoyed Jump Drive.
Did you just say you really love Roll for the Galaxy? Did you mean...
I did say that, didn't I? Race for the Galaxy.
Race for the guy.
Yes,
I was going to say.
I enjoy Race. Roll for the Galaxy, I would rather go to the dentist without the laughy gas.
Nice.
But yeah, Roll for the Galaxy was not my favorite at all.
Yeah.
In the series, my bottom of the barrel, Roll for the Galaxy. Yeah, any of those in that For the Galaxy realm.
Yeah. The only games in that whole series that I even like at all are Jump Drive. And I mean, Jump Drive just because it's simple and fast and pretty slick. The others I really don't care for. Even Race has been replaced by Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So I'm good. That whole series of games is just one that I can take a pretty hard pass on. Visually, they don't do much for me. The components aren't that great. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on those.
New Frontiers is one that I really enjoy, though. I think in my list of them, Jump Drive, New Frontiers, Race for the Galaxy, and then you just stop the list there.
All right. Well, we'll stop the list there then. Moving on from there, we've got Star Realms, Tyrants of the Underdark, Legendary Encounters, the Alien version of that, the Alien deck building game, Undaunted Normandy, which is amazing, Viscounts of the West Kingdom, and then the next one we don't own is War Chest.
This is one that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I know nothing about War Chest.
It's a 2 to 4 player game, 30 minutes, pretty lightweight, 2.3. It's a bag building war game. At the start of the game, you raise your banners, you're drafting, and you're trying to build up your army. Each round, you're going to draw 3 coins from your bag, and then you're going to take turns using those. Yeah, they show your military. They show actions that you can take. This does look a little appealing. I like the short time on it, and for something like this, might be something that this might be something we're missing. This is one I really want to try.
Yeah, it does look kind of intriguing. Like, so it's got these the picture I'm looking at that has these kind of nice velvet bags that are embroidered. And then it looks like it has pretty nice chunky little plastic chips that you can build your bag and stuff out of. Now, visually, it looks like the cards and the board are fairly dull. Like, this doesn't have a lot of art or anything like that going into it, but it seems like kind of a fun little bag building chess-like war game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's one worth looking around for.
Yeah, I'd have to try it before I buy it, but definitely put that on the list of maybes.
All right, moving on from there, going to number 35, Wonderland's War.
Which is awesome.
Great Western Trail, New Zealand, which is you're herding sheep this time.
Sheep instead of cattle.
I haven't unsealed my copy of this yet, but I very sure I will like it since I have liked all the other Great Western Trails. And then we have another Aeon's End game. This is Aeon's End Legacy, followed by one of Andy's favorite games, The Taverns of Tiefenthal, and then one of the original deck building games, Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, Century Golem, Star Wars, the deck building game, which is one that you and I both very much enjoy.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Hero Realms, very similar to Star Realms. And then another one that I guess I kind of overlooked, but it is a total pool building game, and that is Endless Winter Paleo Americans.
Yeah. Yep.
And
deck builder, but yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good.
And then another one that has we've seen on our list several times in the past, And this is Lewis and Clark, The Expedition. And this one, I have a stronger desire to play. Let me double check this. Is it on BGA?
I believe that it is.
So this one has a stronger urge for me to get to the table and pick up and play because it does have a BGA implementation, which does mean that I have a higher likelihood of playing this game multiple times.
So one peek at the site here and I saw the cover and I was like, oh, that's Vincent Dutrait. I love Vincent Dutrait art. So yeah, I'm kind of thumbing through some of these cards here and looking at this. I would definitely be intrigued by this. So you're getting this one, right?
I may have ordered it. Yes.
Excellent. My plan is coming together perfectly. All right. And then, so more on that later, I guess.
Hopefully.
And then we have Rococo, another one that we don't own. Yeah, I know very little about Rococo.
This is another one that just hasn't excited me, but that doesn't mean it's not a good game at all. But it's the whole Renaissance style, Renaissance age is just not a theme that I seek after.
You don't want to make dresses?
I don't want to make dresses, no.
Make dresses for a prestigious ball while managing your deck of employees. Ooh.
Yeah, again, that's just sounds pretty dry to me, but it does have a super high rating, 7.6. Has its weight is 3.08, so it is a little bit heavier, so it is a little bit beefier of a game. And it is in that 60 to 120 time frame, which is very doable. So I would play this game. This is not one that I am going to actively seek out, but if somebody we know owns it, I would definitely give it a shot.
Awesome. Well, maybe someday we'll make dresses for a prestigious ball. Maybe. It's not really one that piques my interest, but with stats like that, you can't deny that there's people out there who like it, and there's probably a reason why. Moving on the list, we've got Bitoku, another Aeon's End game. This is the New Age. Then we've got Century Spice Road. And then the next one we don't own is Imperium Classics. Now, I did own and play Imperium Legends, which is very, very similar. And then there's a new one coming out, Imperium something that I, maybe if I stall really quick, I could find on BGA while I am filling space.
So while you're talking about that, this is...
Horizons.
Okay.
Imperium Horizons, which I don't think has come out yet. But... these are actually pretty intriguing games. There's a lot going on and each faction plays very different. And my understanding is you can mix and match all of these. So if you have Classics and Imperium, and then with Horizons, you can choose to play any of the races and mix and match them with races from the other box. The civilizations or whatever. It's a little complicated and it was a little much for me to wrap my head around because I just played it solo and it has a good AI, but it didn't kind of blow me away. I ended up culling it and I kind of regret it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I think I did pick up this Classics version, but
cool.
If it's going to be something that's in that same vein as like Root or Oath, where to teach the game, you have to know the game and know all the factions very well?
Not nearly to the same extent as something like Root. The game has a solid structure that applies to everybody, but then everyone's civilization is going to have some things that tweak what they do just a little bit. So it's like you teach the game and how it's played, and then everybody's faction just has a few additional rules that they need to know going in. So it does have that asymmetry that makes it fun and intriguing. Not anywhere close to the same way that Root does, though.
Yeah. Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah.
It's in that 1 to 2 hour range, but it is a heavy game, 3.57. So it is heavier on the complexity, and it does have the solo. I don't play a ton of games solo, and it sounds like your experience wasn't.
Well, it wasn't bad. I just and I don't a game like that. I don't care to play solo. It was so that I could learn it. To teach it to other people, which I like that as well. However, I got done with it and then it was kind of like, okay, I don't know that this is one that'll ever really hit the table. And there was a lot to kind of hold in my brain. It's one of those where I think if I could have taught it like the day or the day after I had played it solo, I probably could have done a pretty good job and it would have been fine. But without that, my brain didn't hold it. It just sort of leaked like water from a sieve. So.
No, I get that. There's so many games that I've learned and been ready to teach, and then it goes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then if I haven't played it then it's I needed to reread it or cull it at that point, because if it wasn't exciting enough to force it to the table, then kind of pass on it. But
yeah, for sure. All right, and then the last game on the 50 that you had pulled from BGG was Sid Meier's Civilization, the board game, which Andy does own. So we just need to play it.
Yeah. So I think Andy's played it, and I think Andy's played it several times, but you and I have not played it. So.
Correct. Yeah. So we will definitely need to get that to the table soon.
So there's the top 50. The ones we don't own: Concordia, Orleans, Obsession, Mombasa, Forbidden Stars, Roll for the Galaxy, War Chest, Lewis and Clark, The Expedition, Rococo, Imperium Classics, and that list may have diminished with this episode.
By the time Nathan gets his next board game order, that list will have been cut down to about 3.
I hope not that many.
Okay, 4.
I hope not that many either.
All right. Well, on that note, until next time,
we will see you getting tempted by all the amazing games out there.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/MeepleNation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_nation. Or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.